Hello, 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 Unstoppable Consciousness family. How's it going? This is Lisa LaJoie, your host. I'm kind of excited about today's conversation because we're going to talk about me turning 58. What the fuck happened? I thought it'd be really interesting to talk to you guys about some of the lessons that I've experienced and hopefully inspire you as well to understand the passage of age, ascension, how our life has patterns and synchronicities and cycles, and what that's been like for me, and just to open the gateway to conversations about that at a deeper level. So where do we begin? That's the real question. Where do I start in the journey of my birthday and becoming 58 and saying to myself, where the heck did time go and what has just happened to my life? I remember being 20 and not thinking I would ever make it here because of how I was living my life, and thinking, wow, 50 is really, really far away, and there's no way I'm going to make it. There's no way I'm going to make it. I was hardcore and was lost, very damaged young person, and I think I just, for a long time didn't know any kind of self-value. And I've talked about this before, and I think it's just important to talk about it now because, especially for me becoming, more aware of myself, more aware of my wisdom, more aware of who I am, who I'm meant to be, the things that I've lost, which is really crazy because as I've aged, I've become acutely aware of the healing journey and how deep it goes and all the layers of existence that actually happen in every human being. That it's not just about our spirituality, it's not just about our consciousness, our evolution, our entrepreneurship, and all the things I love talking about here and Unstoppable. It's about the layers of self and, how deep we are as beings. And each person's different, I'm a big astrology, human design, numerology person. I love technologies like that. We have a series coming up on them where I'm going to break them down and go through them and just help, regular folk, anyone who's interested, who's not necessarily deep into spirituality, understand what are these tools for, and how do we use them and how can they help us in our life, It's important because people don't know what they have access to, which will help them get to know who they are at a more deeper level. So I'm bringing that up because, every year I know before my birthday, I have like 5 planets in Aries, and Aries is the initiator of new beginnings, and it's the inspiration. It's the sprout that comes from the seed through the earth. It's the beginning. It's the initializer. It's a person that begins the journey. And I have 5 planets in Aries, so it's been very intense. And if you listen to the series, which I hope you do, you'll see as I talk about it, how all these technologies come together when you understand more than one of them, or you have somebody like myself who can read them all and help you understand each different aspect of you and how they can play out, and how intricately detailed you are as a person. And that along with your life experience, which integrate into these natural dispositions you have, along with your human experience and the conditioning of being a human being and the deconditioning process. Once you realize you are conditioned, you immediately start a deconditioning process if you take initiative to that, and you help yourself start to begin that journey, that spiritual evolution journey, that human evolution journey that allows you to become aware of yourself as a human being and a divine being, and to learn about all the areas of your growth potential and how you can open new doors to yourself and open new doors to your wholeness and your clarity about your challenges and your pain points and the shit that's happened to you and the success that you strive for. What makes you, what do you pull towards? What pulls on you? What anchors you. And so it's interesting because every year I go through the same thing. It's incredible. It's like symbiotic. I've been aware of it for a long time. But as the sun moves over all these planets in my chart and where they're placed in my chart, I get hit in a variety of ways in a very deep, profound way. And so, but as my birthday approaches, it's it's the sun that runs over all these other planets, these 4 other planets, and it hits them one by one by one in the chart, which definitely listen to the astrological podcast I'm going to do, because it's going to help you to understand what the heck I'm talking about. And it'll be on video too, so you'll be able to see it on YouTube. So you get what happens as the sun is moving around the solar system each year and how that implicates change. And as the planets move around the solar system, how it implicates change in each person's chart, because the day that you were born, the time and the place, put you in a position where you can learn about yourself in quite a profound way, because it says here is some of the experiences that you came to have. Here is how life is going to support you in these different areas of growth possibilities and of areas of being human, big and small, in your mind, in your body, in your soul, in your emotions, in your expansive nature, in the world, in transformation, in your relationships. Your astrological components of self tell us so much and can tell you so much about who you are. And so I know that. I've known that for a long time. And every year I know I'm going to go through a journey, and I never know how. I'm very open to how the journey unfolds, because as we progress as people, we also become more able to capitalize on these experiences without it being a deep, dramatic pain. I've gotten really good at becoming adaptable and allowing the planets, which is part of the universe, to show me in detail how I can learn more about my growth. Then this year, wow, we have a lot of things going on in the galaxy right now, and very intense, because what you go through as a person and what's happening out there in the solar system, they dance together, and in that dance you are implicated in a certain way. You're pushed and pulled and twisted and turned into opportunities for yourself. And the planets and the universe and your consciousness and you and your growth become a gateway to healing and transformation, because being aware at the level I'm aware really helps me to take advantage of these situations and increase my awareness. The interesting thing, and part of why I wanted to do this podcast, is the depth of my understanding about humankind and the opportunity to understand the shadow self, the shadow side, the lack of consciousness in the world has been profound, has been so profound this year. Seeking inside myself and letting things pop, because that's how I roll it out. I let things pop. I'm aware of what's happening in the global picture, and then I'm aware and how that's implicated in my chart. And then I'm also very aware of what's happening in my personal chart related to the sun hitting all my planets, and that symbiotic experience of I'm going to be revved up into growth. I'm going to be awakened into these new beginnings, because I'm that Aries with so many planets saying, yeah, we got this. Let's go. We have to always reinvent, re-engage, realign, restart. Every year I get to do that. I mean, we get to do that anytime, but at my birthday, it's very, very impactful. And I'm hungry for it. I'm hungry. I'm hungry for growth. I'm hungry for freedom. Really important to me. And everybody's different, folks. Some people have it easy. I'm not going to lie. It's the truth. That's a fact. Some people have it easy. They come here. They're not in deep. Everything grows, quite frankly, so easy. It's mind-boggling and wonderful because they came here collectively with themselves and the consciousness of themselves to have that experience, you know. There's a choice that's made before you come here. You know, your soul has a plan. You know, your soul selects your day, you know, with your body and your consciousness and the universe and all the planets. When's the right time for me to come? There's a deep experience that's going on way before we get here. And everyone, you know, I know lots of people, there's lots of different philosophies. But knowing this information is supposed to help you. It's not supposed to imprison you even more to, oh, this is my destiny. In every technology, there's advanced charts. There's, you know, there's ways to see how you can change into, you know, something else. How you can take your opportunities and grow really, really deep. And expand yourself so what was doesn't exist anymore in you and in your life. And in your experience. And that's real. That's very, very real. So, you know, some people want to experience control to the point that they want to know about their design of life, their destiny, and they don't want flexibility, you know. And some people, like I was saying, have it easy, and I wouldn't want to change easy either, right? Maybe that's not true because some of the ways that I'm built, I'm very forensic. I want to dive into areas where no one goes so I can help people and heal myself and allow my soul to fly where it wants to go. And let's face it, you know, I'm born to do that. I'm built to do that. I have those muscles to do that. And that's why it's partially happening to me in that way in my life where I've been able to reflect over this last period of time, turning 58, I'm like 2 years away from 60. I just can't fucking believe it, you know? And for those of you that are offended by swear words, I'm like the worst podcast for you to listen to. I'm very comfortable being myself. And that's part of it, you know? And if you're uncomfortable, then maybe you want to look at why you want to be so proper and how exciting would be if you could break out of that barricade. But I'm okay with you. No matter what, whether you do or you don't. I just want you to understand that, you know, I'm okay with who I am. And I've had some flack about that. And I've had, you know, coaches and people. And no, you shouldn't. That's what I say. Don't tell me I shouldn't. You shouldn't. You know, you shouldn't even be saying what you're saying right now because I'm okay with who you are if you want to be proper and act a certain way. And then, you know, that's your business. But I want to be real and authentic and I want to just be myself, right? See how these tangents just roll? It's crazy. So I turned 58. I'm here now. And those shifts have happened. I go into a deep place of grace, deep place of grace. And I usually go and do very special things during this time because I know what's going to happen. And I want it to be really smooth and easy. And I want to make sure that I'm in a place where I'm right with myself and that there's no disturbance and no sound and no bothering experience and nothing going to provoke me to get away from myself so that I don't hear what I need to hear, feel what I need to feel, and see what I need to see within. This was a dark, deep dive. And I understand why on the level of looking at the cosmos to look for mappings and patterns and opportunities for all of us. The more you resist, the harder it gets. If you're listening to this podcast, I know you know about resistance. I know you know that if you resist your life, then for sure you're going to have trouble because the more you resist, you know, the more you get chased because whatever you're resisting comes chasing you because we're built to be whole. We're built to heal. We're built to change. We're built to hear ourselves truly and completely. So to run away from self means you have to run hardcore, and you have to dive into really behavior that blocks what you're trying to run from. So the behavior becomes the problem versus what's underneath it. And, you know, that's just resistance in a longer definition. And you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. You know, I do it. I've done it. I've changed it. I do it again. And it gets quicker, it gets faster. And the turnaround time is impeccable. It's wonderful. But there's still the journey of emotions, and there's still the journey in the process of healing. And so I've been really, really in a place of deep growth and recognizing so much of the impacts that I've had in my life based on my experiences as a female. The loneliness that has come with standing up for myself, for seeing and being able to penetrate the truth in people, and in my life, and in the people I love, and in the people who are not genuine, who don't have right motives. And thinking about all the letting go I've actually experienced, how many people, how many experiences I've been in, I've moved through, where I've had to let go for the right reasons. Some when I was younger, not so right. There's a lot of destructive things that I've done that I've had to amend and seek peace with. And then there's letting go that was right for me. And I had to, because I could see that the people's motives were really not correct over a period of time, sifting through it, forensically checking for trust, and making sure people are on the right page. And listen, people are people. They want to take advantage. They don't want to face their shit. So they end up hurting other people, and they don't care. And that's real. That's just real. And we have to try. I believe in forgiveness. I believe in healing. But when you extend a hand and somebody keeps hitting it away over and over and over again, you got to know, you got to go. You got to know, you got to go. You can't stand there going, here, hit my hand again. Here, hit my hand again. And I learned that the hard way a few times, because my love run deeps. And when I'm loyal to somebody, I'll give them way too much time. Way too much time. Partly due to, my own pain and my own having to work on my worth and my value and my ability to love more deeply myself, and others too, because when you love others, you let them go sooner. You don't let them act their destructive behavior all over you and your life. You tell them, I love you enough to say that how you are is not right for me, and it's not right at all. And I have to walk away, and and I've been, betrayed. Oof, ugly. I've had people who did all kinds of stuff, and I'm a pretty solid and loyal person. You can slander me, I'm not going to slander you. I might tell people close to me how I feel about what's going on, but I'm not a dick. I am really not. And there's so many people out there that are cowards because they don't know how to say it to you and with you. They say it behind you and about you. And that's unfortunate and sad. But that's just not my lifestyle. I'm good. When I'm talking about somebody or something, it's really in a private setting with people I trust to work through it to the best of my ability. And for me to call somebody out, I may do it. I may do it on the podcast, without saying names. I may say it in a post. I may say it in a coaching program where, just talking about real things that are impacting me, that I'm moving through. But I'm not going to say things that are harmful to people's reputation or things that are harmful to others, because that's painful. And that's although I could, right? Because we all could do that. It's not necessary. It's not necessary to dive into the level of what other people's actions are. The thing that's great about that is when you put a boundary up, you find out exactly immediately who people are. Exactly and immediately. And because they're going to start doing that, and it's going to come back to you, because people that love you will tell you. People that love you will say, yeah, so-and-so is bad-mouthing you. And then you find out you were 100% right about your decision, and you can feel at peace that you put the right boundaries up, you put the right things in place. So that reflection has come back to me this year. This year has been a deep and profound experience. A lot of planets are in Pisces, which means you're going over karma, you're going over and over the depth of yourself and your lessons and your learning and the deep dive into humanity and why are we doing what we're doing and we cannot find forgiveness. Why can't we stop being martyrs, and start being uplifters and allowing ourselves to stop the whining and the bitching and the slandering and the hurting and the stepping on each other. That's a call to the world. That's huge right now in the world consciousness, and I'm aware of it. And so, it came up for me with the same platform that everybody else is going through, that landscape, that energetic landscape the cosmos are offering us in that self-reflective space and how we treat each other. It's been really amazing. I feel on the other side of it, but it's been really amazing to say goodbye to a lot, and to say goodbye to people and things and experiences and pain that I've had and I've carried for a long time. And I don't think it's all gone. I'm not sure. I've been through a lot, but I also have found a deep understanding of who I am as a person, and more about what matters to me that I didn't know because I didn't feel like, I guess I was allowed to know, I was still complying a little bit to pleasing others, to being afraid to say some truth about what's happened in my life from people I love, or experiences with those that I wish were different, like really different. That's the hardest thing to confess to. That is the most painful thing for my clients that I've experienced with them, coaching them at a profound level. It has been the hardest thing for me, but yet it is the most liberating and freeing thing to say, I love you despite what happened. And I was committed to you, and I was loyal to you, and I wanted our relationship, and I wanted what I dreamed of having with you, despite how you treated me. And despite the aftermath, and despite what happened, I really did love you. And I'm going to own that and stop fighting it, and just know I love you. And I always will. When you allow yourself to have that with the people that you love that much, who've hurt you the most, or people you hurt yourself up against because you were hurt and you were in pain. This is the revelation I've had. And there's been quite a few. I was like right back from the beginning, right from the onset of my life. I had disappointment, rejection, neglect, struggle, abuse, violence, sexual abuse, loneliness, being alone, being left alone, being abandoned is all there. And it's funny because people don't realize how bad it was, like people who loved my mother as an example, who they never thought in a million years that I actually went through those things, or people who thought my father was this certain type of man who never thought in a million years I went through those things, I know it's hard for anybody around us to see and hear things about those people that they loved from children like me. I know that's hard. And I know it's hard for me to do the same thing with people that I love, and to actually say, wow, you weren't right with me. For me to confess to myself that my parents neglected me and abandoned me, it was easier for me to blame myself. And I had to push myself to do that. I had to push myself to look at the relationships where I suffered or I made others suffer, and love myself anyway. Just like I extend love to those men in my life who have been awful and torturous and took advantage of my unworthiness to serve their narcissistic self. And I've been through that. I'm a pretty tough person, but I was very wounded in my life. And so I've had relationships that were rotten and awful, and where I tortured myself due to my pain inside, and due to I didn't believe or see or know that there was so much more love for me to give to the right person and to receive from the right person and the right people. I didn't feel like I deserved it. I didn't think it was possible. So I would always chase what I was impossible, trying to resolve my pain with my family. And, I was thinking about this, how the periods of time where I put myself in therapy or I found healers like myself to help me through big journeys, big changes, and how profound that was and is. And how those moments where I blame myself, because it was way easier for me to betray myself than to say that these people I loved, who I wanted their love so desperately, treated me that way. That was easier for me. I have no idea why, except I'm an empath. I have big shoulders. I could read the energy, and I just thought that their needs were more important than mine because I read that from them at a very young age. I learned from a very young age that my needs were not, they were secondary to the people that I grew up with, that mine were nowhere near as important as theirs. Like, my parents were selfish people, and they did whatever they had to do, and they did whatever they wanted to do, and they left children neglected, alone, because they were busy in their own pain. So I learned at a very young age, you're on your own, kiddo. And there's nobody here. And that's it. You're on your own. And that anchored in my being. So how could I ever expect anybody in the outer world, anybody who came into my life, to put me first, care about my needs? Just be there. Just really be there. And it's intense. It was very intense. I started my healing journey at 23. Well, even before that, I started my healing journey at 14 when I saw my first therapist to confess to somebody, because I knew I was damaged goods already. I knew intuitively, I knew it. And my brother had been in therapy, and I begged my parents to go because my mother explained to me what therapy was. And there are a lot of good things my mother did. You have to understand, we healed by the time her life was done and she left the planet. We were healed. There was a tremendous amount of work we both did on ourselves. I'm 58. I started my healing journey at 23, where I had a true spiritual awakening, but I started the journey of talking truth at 14. And then I went through a very dark period. And then I came out of it at 23, but I went through many other dark periods trying to figure all this stuff out. I was pretty damaged. And I know a lot of you out there are damaged, and you don't feel unstoppable. You don't feel consciousness. You don't feel yourself. And I want you to feel inspired and know that through the journey of understanding who you are, that you can feel that way. And you can feel aware of who you are. You can feel aware of the depths of all that you're made of. As a human being, as a divine being, you can feel wholeness. And that's been my life's work for the last 30 years, Today, do people all love me? No, they don't. A lot of them impose their shit on me, for sure. I play sports. People have all these opinions. It's irritating. Let me tell you, it's so irritating. But people project, and they pull their stuff, and they don't understand each other, and they don't try to, because everybody's worried about their own shit. I understand that. I'm really comfortable. I'm comfortable learning from each experience. I'm comfortable when somebody tells me that they're upset about something, to take it and chew on it and look at it, and then help it change me and turn it into a change versus a fuck you. And, I had many years of rebellion, many years of rebellion and not being able to admit that I was wrong because I was so self-preserving. And during this coming up to 58 and coming up to this stage of my life and looking back, and, it was beautiful to see and look and say, Lisa, you've done so much. You've done so much. Even though you feel like who you were is a step away, who I was is a step away, it's also got layers and layers of growth of who I am today, and discovering the person underneath the pain and being free. And I will continue to get out of the chains. If there's any I find, I will continue to break them. I must. I owe it to myself. I owe it to you guys. I owe it to my listeners. I owe it to my clients. I owe it to the universe to live who I am and to live the true self that I am, you know? And what's fun is when I've learned about the depth of my chart. I'm telling you right now, my chart is meant to dive deep into the pain. And I hated it. I don't want it to be that. And I've learned and learned and read and learned, and it's undeniable. At 58, I look back on who I am. As much as I'm an uplifter, I'm also like able to dive deep with people and help them see that their shit is fertilizer. It is not their destiny. It's the fertilizer for who they're becoming. If they could switch their mindset with me and they can come on this journey, I can show them. And I've been very successful at being able to do that for a long time. And I feel very blessed to be able to take my pain and my learnings and go through what I've gone through and be able to say, you can do it. You know, you can do it. You can break the chains, and we can break the chains that bind us. We have so far to go, like it's crazy. We're in new stages of evolution. We're in new circuitry as a humanity. And, I'm talking about my personal circuitry upgrade that I've just had because of my birthday, and overviewing that and feeling so grateful that I said goodbye to so much shit in my life, in me, out of me, around me, in relationships with people, in my work, even changing my work, and being an empath, an overgiver, doing too much for people, being able to say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. You do you, I'm going to do me. Here I have a line in the sand. Developing that, oof, grateful. So very grateful. I don't apologize anymore for my life. You know what I mean? I've worked my ass off for it. I'm not one of the people who had it easy at all, at zero. But I could tell you there's areas of my life that are easy. Like the fighter in me that'll fight for myself. Some people don't have that. And that's a blessing to have that willingness to fight for yourself and to fight for your purpose. I naturally have that. What a gift. What a gift. I know some of you out there don't even have the desire to fight. Some people who I know have amazing lives. They're like, they have everything they could ever need and they hate themselves to the core. What's worse, right? Going through pain and suffering, or hating yourself to the core, having everything. For me, it's the same. It's pain. It's pain. So wherever you are, I just wanted to share. Turning 58 is pretty awesome. And anything I could do to help, you could always, anytime you want, let me know if you have a question. If you want me to elaborate on anything I ever say, I'm there for you. I'd love to. It's been really cool. And I'm excited about how I feel and the saying goodbye to what was still bugging me, because I had things that were bugging me. I had people that I love that they hurt me, you know what I mean? And they were bitches. Lots of women are nasty that have ran through my life, claiming, pretending, but really just cowards. People who hide the truth about who they are. Taking advantage of situations, fake people, who I thought were my friends. Well, and I was like, okay, well, that's sad. That was a conclusion, a big conclusion, this birthday. And there I was, looking through all these cycles of relationships. My love relationships, too, was another big cycle. Not so much my family stuff, like more those two sectors of my life. My business relationships as well didn't come up. But what did come up in my business is realigning with my purpose and making new decisions around my finances, around my goals, around who I want to be around and what kind of support I need. on what I'm going to do next, and where I want to take, and where my soul wants me to go, you know. I always, I never do this goal-driven mission experience alone. I always work with spirit and my soul, my consciousness, the universe, to look for, what do you want me to do next, you know? And how can I show up to that as a human being, and where are the leaks and where are the holes, and what do I need to do to move through them so that I can expand that me being me and serving in the way that I'm meant to. And am I meant to continue serving, or do I need to do something else, right? So there's, you know, what's coming next, big cleanup. I'm getting ready to clean a little bit more things up in my business and in my life, and in that area where, you know, it's time to grow in a new way, which is really exciting. And I welcome new relationships in my life, and I'm happy to have said goodbye to some of those tyrants, because that's not, it's crazy when I look back and I'm like, why was I doing that again? And I could see, oh, I was doing that because I was hungry for love, you know. I wanted to have it so bad. I didn't know. I couldn't see. Because my subconscious was, my mindset was skewing my consciousness. And so happy that's over. It's so funny, like, these are not new things. They're actually old things that came to a completion, you know, a full completion. And good timing, right? Like, just great timing. 58, come on. Time to live my experience and shine my light in the world even bigger and wider. And yeah, I'm excited about that. So where are you in your life? That's my question. Anybody else celebrating birthdays? Anyone else, you know, going through, or any of you going through that upgrading process, that grinding of yourself into the more that you are? Don't be afraid. I'm always available. I'm always here. Yeah. And I got you. I get you, and I got you. I really do. If you relate to this podcast, if you relate to what I'm saying, we understand each other. And that's what matters. Thanks so much for listening. Love to hear any feedback. And we'll talk to you soon.